Hey guys, Modsy here, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of my all-time favourite games from the late 90s. Probably in my top 10 easily favourite games from that era. It's Revolt. This game is an incredible little car racing remote control game that's come out on multiple different platforms over the years. It was first launched in March 1999, developed by Acclaim Studios London and published by Acclaim Entertainment. And partly with Acclaim Entertainment Japan as well. And there's been a couple of other companies that have done the mobile versions of the game that you can get as well. And of course, as you can see here, it has come out on good old Nintendo 64. And I think I've bought this game 7 times because this is one of the, I think every platform I've ever bought, including Mac, I've bought a copy of this game for. Because it's one of the most easiest pick-up, time-wasting board games. This is probably one, I think I have 2 games on my phone, and this is one of them. It is an incredible little just fun time-wasting game to muck around and play on. So basically, if you've never heard of this game, it's essentially a game where it's like a career mode racing car game, like Grid or something like that. Except you are controlling a remote control car. You're using keyboard, you're using touch controls, you're using an N64 controller, keyboard, mouse, keyboard, not really mouse. Now in terms of the single player side of things, the game has a very good tournament system which allows you to basically collect 4 different levels of trophies: bronze, silver, gold, and I believe it's platinum or titanium it might have been. I think it's platinum, sorry, from memory. And the tracks can get slightly repetitive in a way, because what they actually do so they didn't have to make a brand new map for every single version, like every single level of difficulty. There's a couple of new maps that you will discover along the way as you go through the tournament mode, but they actually reverse the map and then they mirror it. So you actually end up playing the same map 4 times. A couple of them you end up playing 4 times throughout the entire tournament mode. And it's actually quite funny because when they have decided to mirror the map, so you're doing it the correct path, the correct way around, but the actual map is mirrored, the entire game is mirrored. Now you still control the car the correct way with the keyboard, so pressing left turns you left, pressing right turns you right, etc. But all the text and the 3D rendering, like 3, 2, 1, go, it's mirrored, which is really, really funky, which is a really cool little, it's one of those things where it must have been some pre-rendered animation and they just went, yeah, we'll just flip it. It must have been baked into the game somehow that they just didn't have time to re-render it out separately to when they mirrored the game. But I think it's a cool little funky thing. Just adds a little bit more character to the game, I guess. Now some of the levels can be really, really, really hard, and there is a little bit of strategy to the pickups as well, timing them around the map, placing oil at very crucial turning points or stopping points. And I would say that the ability to play this game and actually finish the tournaments through the different difficulties is definitely the easiest on PC and probably even on console as well. PC definitely being the easiest. I have tried to progress and play this game on console using right through to the tournament system, but on Android at least there's a rather funky mechanic that I can't demonstrate with the PC footage you're watching at the moment. But essentially the way that the controls work on at least Android is the car will actually automatically go forwards, and you have touch controls for left and touch controls for turning right. And the car automatically goes forward at a set speed. And that's an issue because the only way you can control that is by holding down both directional arrows, and that puts the brakes on. The problem is that they've implemented a thing where depending on which side you pressed first, left or right, the car will actually steer that way while it's braking. So if you if you just want to hit the brakes and go in a straight line, you'll hit the brakes and the car will sometimes veer sharply to the left or veer sharply to the right, and you didn't want to do it. So it actually makes some of the more very tricky sections of some of the more harder maps very difficult to navigate purely from the control point of view. You can be well and truly out in front in terms of pace, but you can then get screwed over just by the controls of the game as well. So I definitely recommend playing it on easy mode, because otherwise if you try to do it on normal or even hard, when you get up to around the gold and platinum tier of races, you will start running into some very frustrating situations where you just can't even go around a single lap of a track even in last place because you can't even brake to go around some of the corners properly. So there's a little bit of poor implementation on the phone version, but I mainly play it for, like, you know, every now and then when I'm bored, and I usually play the same couple of tracks just for the fun of it, using some of the different cars and stuff like that they've got. Now, the other aspect that I did touch on earlier about this game is mod support. Like games like Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, and games like that had a big modding community, Revolt did as well. And there was actually a website, I cannot remember, I've tried to Google search it what it was, I don't even think it exists anymore, but it was very similar to the Need for Speed Cars website, which I believe was like NFS Cars or something like that. It was very similar, where you could download skins and modified tracks and all that kind of stuff for this game and actually, you know, extend the playability of the game. Now, that didn't change up anything to do with the single player side of things, apart from car skins, because for some reason there was some mechanic built into the game which wouldn't actually allow you to add custom or even replace some of the maps in single player mode. So the game was, you end up having a lot more fun with the game with a lot of the custom maps and things like that, but it was more time trial and multiplayer where the mod support kind of really shined for this game. If you wanted to do your own custom cars, you can actually open the skins for these cars in a program like Photoshop, or I can't remember I think we had like Corel Draw or Corel something or other. I can't remember the version of software that we had back on our old family computer. And I was able to modify and paint the cars like bright fluoro pink and bright fluoro green and crazy colours, and put images and things like that on them. Customise the rims and colours and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun. Now, one of the other really cool aspects of this game that's actually let it live as long as it has and still be, you know, have some kind of a fan base even to this day, is there's a really cool website which I can't remember off the top of my head. I only discovered it the other day while doing a bit of research for this game. I didn't even know that this existed because I don't really play this game on PC that much these days. There's a website which I'll put down here below, which is actually an online version. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of the game Quake Live before. Initially, Quake Live was a game that launched in browser, where you would just download the game and then play the game directly through a browser. There's actually a website for Revolt which allows you to download the game. I haven't actually done it because I only just discovered it and I haven't actually tested it out just yet, so I'm going to go into it at a later date when I've got a bit of extra time to fiddle around with it. And from what I can see at a glance, it allows you to download the game and play it online with modded cars, modded tracks, run tournaments. There's a full forum system and all that kind of stuff. And it's for a lot of different countries and stuff as well. It looks really, really, really cool. There's a leaderboard for different things, which was really surprising. It's something that kind of took me by surprise. I was like, this actually exists. People are still playing it that actively, which just, I guess, goes to show just how much of a beloved game this is. Now, if you want to actually buy this game in, let's say, a boxed version like this, I paid, I think this was around I think it was about $22 plus shipping Australian for this, and I did actually get it from America because I couldn't find any sealed boxed versions of the game that are the English versions, at least, because there's a lot of versions that are basically not in English, so all the instructions and all the bits and pieces basically just won't be in English. And I wanted this. This is one of the I guess 5 games that I wanted to have a sealed big box version, I guess, in my collection to have. But prices for these can range from anywhere between as little as $10 Australian up to I guess $50 to $60 Australian, depending on how much you feel like getting ripped off paying for it, I guess. But I managed to find mine from a place in America. The guy was selling it for like $9 or $10 American, and I think it was like $11 shipping. So I think it was around $30 Australian by the time you add all the eBay side of things back up. So it was a pretty good deal for a game that is an absolute timeless classic. So I hope you've enjoyed a look at this really cool old classic game from the late 90s. Again, this is one of my favourite top games from the late 90s, and I still dig it out every now and then to have a play around, mostly on phone whenever I'm bored these days. Occasionally I'll play it on console when I'm really bored and I just want to feel like dusting off the old Nintendo 64. But it's an absolutely incredible game, and if you're looking for something to add to your retro PC build, if you've got like a late 90s, early 2000s PC, and you're looking for just a fun little racing game to, you know, blow off a bit of steam in, you can't go past Revolt. It's an absolutely incredible game.
Hey guys, so I was actually working on the editing and capturing the B-roll footage of Revolt, and I completely forgot yesterday when I was doing the initial filming to mention the track editor that comes with certain versions of Revolt as well. So there's a full track editor which allows you to make like arena-style tracks with blocks, basically, where you just place down in succession different kinds of blocks to make obstacles, pathways, things like that. And you can make your own sort of customized tracks on a grid scale, basically. Now this track editor is a little bit bugged on my retro system at the moment, so every time I try and capture while I go into the track editor, it actually decides to bug out and crash my capture, so a little bit annoying. So I've already prepared and made a track, so what we're going to do is just check out and see what an actual track made in the editor actually looks like. Now I've got to turn the number of cars down because, and I'm going to put it down to 1 lap, because the tracks that you actually make through the track editor are quite system intensive if you make them rather large, especially if you do it on a grid of 16 by 16. You can make them a lot bigger and a little bit smaller as well, but and the more cars you have, it's very system intensive for some reason, a lot more so than the actual game on its own. So we're going to do single race, we'll just do arcade, yep, there we go, yep, just go like that. And there we go. So it just, with all of just the normal tracks, it'll appear as this. It'll basically show up, and that's actually a very good. That's basically what the track editor looks like. It's just this very basic looking, and I think it's like 640 by 480 resolution that you cannot change, basically, and then you just edit, and that's kind of what it looks like in the editor itself. That thumbnail there. So we're going to load this up. Oh, there we go. That's a lot better. I tried this before with 12 cars, and I did it after the editor had crashed, and I was getting about 5 frames a second, so it can change quite a lot. And whoa! Oh, I forgot how annoying. Oh, I want that. I forgot how annoying these things are. Press if you're heading towards. Whoa! Oh, that was kind of lucky. If you're heading to. Whoa! There we go. If you're heading towards. Hey, there we go. If you're heading towards the outside of the map, just hit reset car straight away, and it does reset you back onto the track. So, yeah. So that's the map editor. So now there's a couple final things that I wanted to mention in regards to some upcoming videos. So I'm doing a couple of video card reviews and talking about a couple of specific video cards that I've sort of been trialing and erroring a couple of videos on at the moment, and I haven't quite been happy with the way that I've filmed them, so I've kind of gone back to the drawing board because I want to do them justice and actually do these videos in a very particular way that's a little bit different from how some of the other reviewers like review video cards or look at video cards. I'm going to do something a little bit different with them. So I've got a couple, so it'll be the GeForce 3 Ti 500, the Radeon 9800 Pro, 9500 Pro, and I think there's another GeForce card that I'm going to look at as well, but I haven't picked out which one I want to do just yet. But they'll be coming in the next couple of weeks, as well as some more gameplay videos and stuff as well. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and hope you've enjoyed the video. Catch you guys later.